This presentation is the lesson I use when I'm teaching gesture drawing to my elementary students. I do this in 4th grade, but it's easily adaptable to any grade that you want to use it with. Here I am making a gesture, showing off my fine roller skating skills at the school roller skating party last year. So in this presentation, I show a series of pictures of people making gestures, primarily athletes in an athletic pose. And then I give some advice on how to do the gesture drawing. At the end of the series, after I have demonstrated with my white lines there my suggestions for drawing it, I also go through it again without the white lines. So if you want to show your class just a series of these pictures just to draw from, you can do that without my narration. As a disclaimer, I got all of these images off the internet, other than mine, of course, and I don't own them. I'm not making any money off them, and I don't know where they came from. I made this years ago. Gesture drawing. What is it? How do you do it? So what is a gesture? 4th graders generally don't know what a gesture is, but I show them this is a gesture, and this is a gesture, and this is a gesture. And I will also usually sort of leap towards them and point my finger at them and say, this is a gesture, and then put my hands over my head, this is a gesture. And that really gets them excited. And so, a gesture is a pose, but it usually is more action oriented. It's not just standing still like a stick man. It shows some movement, some action, some expression. So this is a stick man, which of course you all know how to do, and that is essentially what we're going to be doing today. We are not going to be putting a lot of details in. We're not going to worry about making it look realistic. What we're going to be doing is trying to get the body, the arms, and the legs to show action and movement. Now this guy isn't very interesting, but these guys are. And so you can see, even with a simple stick figure, you can show the action and the movement and the energy. You can show that gesture. In order to do a good job at this, you are going to have to look closely. This is not a drawing that you make from your imagination. This is a drawing that you make by looking very closely at what you see. But you're not going to have a lot of time. We're going to do a series of drawings only for 3 minutes. Now, you can make it as long or short as you want, but I find 3 minutes is a good amount of time to keep them engaged, keep it moving, but also give them time to do a good job at it. You'll get some students who freak out when you change the picture because they want to put in every detail. So 3 minutes is what I like to work with, because showing is better than telling. I always start with a couple of YouTube videos. I like this one. I don't show the whole video because they actually show how to paint these watercolor backgrounds. I just skip ahead and get to the sort of scribbly marker gesture drawings. And then this one is another good one. I like to show 2 of them so it shows that the different artists do it slightly different ways. In both cases, it's very fast, very rough. They don't have a lot of details. And at both points, there are art teachers who are talking them through. You want to be fast and loose, and that this is just practice. This is not the final project. This is just practice, just as if you were, playing a sport or playing music. You would have drills, you would do scales. This is the sort of practice that artists do. As I said, I usually do it for 3 minutes. And it's very important that you draw what you see. So when I'm going around looking at what the students are doing and making corrections and giving advice, I'm never advising about how, say, realistic it looks or details. I'm saying, now I see that you put this arm straight out, but if I look at the picture, I see that that arm is straight up. So let's look closely at what you see. Now we're going to start. Okay, let's start with these 2 ladies. They are pretty easy. You can see with the first one, she's standing sort of straight, but I want you to see there's a little bit of arch to her back. She's leaning back a little bit. This girl is standing straighter, so of course you're going to put that line in first. But I also want to make sure that you get your line all the way out to the pom-pom. See that she's stretching all the way up. So your picture should show a nice long stretch. What's the first thing that you notice about this guy? Specifically, I want you to see a letter of the alphabet. So the first thing I want you to see is that C. That is the main line that you're going to see there. So draw that big C, and then you can draw in the rest of the picture. Now this girl, I want you to look closely at her. She is not standing up. She is leaning forward. Now when I show this one, I usually try to sort of imitate in the front of the class. And so I show that this girl is really leaning forward. So what I want to see here is a diagonal line. See that she, her head is about as forward as her knees. And you can see her arms make sort of a crooked T. There's one shoulder that is higher than the other. And you can put in those legs. And you can see everything here is really on an angle, and that shows the dynamic energy and action going forward. What I like to show about this guy is how loose and curved he is. So you can see he's not standing up straight, so you don't want to draw a straight stick man. You want to get a little bit of curve there. You can see how loose and bouncy he is. Very dynamic, and of course you want to include the ball too. This is one of my favorite ones. So first of all, they all squeal because they can see her underwear, but this is what I want you to see. Look at how straight those legs are. Notice that this is not going horizontally, this is going diagonally. So when you draw those legs, I don't want to see any bend in those legs. I want to see a nice straight line. And you just get her arms really reaching out there. Now notice, what directions those arms are pointing. Then the body isn't just lines, the body is a shape. So you can see that's a triangle shape, and make sure that you get that skirt in there as well, because that skirt is all about the dynamics of the picture. The skirt, the way it's sticking up, is making a gesture just the same way that the arms and the legs are. Oh, this guy is tricky. And I usually try to get into this pose in the front of the class and encourage them to do so as well. Look at how twisty this guy is. He's got arms going one way and legs going another. The two legs are each going different directions. The two arms are going different directions. This is a really tough position to get into. So see if you can look closely and see if you can do a gesture drawing that is all sort of twisted like this, and so you can see just how much energy is in this gesture drawing. What I want you to see in this one, even though it's two people, it makes one long line. So when you draw this, I want you to look at it not as two separate people, but look at how those lines are connected together. And you've got a big mass of the body there and the arms. Oh, this one is good. A lot of these people have been looking at him really long and skinny, but this guy is massive. This guy you can't do with long, stretchy lines. This one you're going to do with big, bold shapes. Look at this guy coming at you. So we want to get his chest and his thighs, his big head, because of course he's padded, he's bigger than normal. So you really want to make this massive and make it with big, bold strokes. Nothing skinny about this guy. You get all that action in there. A good way to break down gesture drawing is to see if you could make it into letters. The woman, she's a crooked T. So you can see she's got a real straight line at the bottom and then sort of crooked, almost vertical, but more diagonal lines. Whereas the man, he's an X. Here's another guy that's very twisty and bouncy. This is definitely an action shot. So it would be very hard for someone to pose in this shot. This is definitely a movement that he is not going to be able to hold this for more than a second. You see all those wiggly squigglies going all over the place there. Okay, now I'll shut up. So if you want to show this to your class, what you can do is just pause each picture and time it for the 3 minutes. As always, check out my channel for more elementary art teachers how-to videos.